Well, personally, I knew this was going to happen, so I'm not going to celebrate. I'm not going to jump up and down. We got more work to do. But for the Alvarez family and the guys behind me and my guys that are roaming the halls, I hope they savor this moment because it's historic. And like I said earlier, nobody owns 9/11, but today we own 7/12, and I'm so proud of my team. And we got a lot more work to do. And I want to thank this guy to the right of me for everything he's done.
We did see you guys hugging just a moment ago. John Field, we also saw Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, just whispering something to you. What'd she say?
She told me I was tenacious, I was a pit bull, I was a pain in the ass, and she said that I was right and that we work for you, and that she looks forward to working with us in the future when John and I do the burn pit bill.
Jon Stewart, to you, this is also expected to pass the Senate. You've been working on this for so long. First of all, how are you feeling, and is this enough?
Well, I mean, look, it's hard to be celebratory when people do their jobs. And, for Phil and for Ida, they're down here in Lou's memory, and what he really wanted was to see this happen before he passed. And we weren't able to make that happen, but in his memory, we're going to be able to make it happen in the Senate. And for Ray Pfeiffer and for all the first responders and the victims and survivors that those names represent. We all know the name now of Jimmy Zadroga and Lou Alvarez and Ray Pfeiffer, but they represent a community of people that are in terrible pain and are sick and dying. Phil brought up this point that 16 died this month. 16. What's happening to that community is urgent, it's dire, and it's heartbreaking. And so, look, these guys have put in the work for 15 years. John Field has given 15 years of his life and half his foot and a kidney to this cause. And we just want them to be able to exhale. Passing this in the Senate in 2 weeks, and we're going to hold Senator McConnell to his word, will be a chance to exhale, but it doesn't fix the grief and the suffering that they will continue to experience going forward. It just removes that extra burden that needn't have been there in the first place.
This bill extends funding through 2090. Jon Stewart, quickly, if you wouldn't mind, just explain what these funds will do, what they'll provide.
Well, the Zadroga Act Victim Compensation Fund and the Health Care Act provide for the illnesses and injuries that 9/11 first responders and victims suffered, not just on that day, but in the months past that, when they were down on the pile and they were working in an area that was incredibly toxic, but they were told was safe. And this allows their families to not have to go bankrupt. It allows these responders and other survivors not to have to decide whether to take that chemo shot or to pay their rent. This allows them to pursue the treatments that they need to pursue. It allows their families to be able to stay in their houses and continue to live their lives.
Well,
and that's it.
Let me correct my colleague over here. The VCF, which is the James Zadroga, Ray Pfeiffer, Louis Alvarez Victims Compensation Fund now, will make people whole again. So for those who lost their jobs or those who got illnesses or injuries from working at Ground Zero or Shanksville or the Pentagon, they will be made whole again. And those who received cuts already will get a second check. So
and it won't expire.
The process has started of relieving the burden in the 9/11 community, and for the tens of thousands that have been following us, you have watched grassroots activism at its best. You have watched the American people take the fight to Congress. We didn't wait for Congress to come to us. We went to Congress. And these men and women behind me, the champions, and listen, Congress and the Senate, they're doing their job. I'm never going to congratulate them. But those who stand behind me and beside me and in front of me, they're the ones who deserve all the credit. Over 300 meetings in the last 9 months. We drove over 7,000 miles. We walked over 300 miles of the halls of Congress. We have over 172 man-hours in meetings. These people right here, not only were they heroes on 9/11 in the days and weeks after, they're heroes again. They deserve all the credit. Me and John just drove the bus.
Congress said, they were down there and they said, oh, we're sorry that you didn't get full attendance at your hearing. We're sorry that when Lou Alvarez spoke, only 6 members were sitting there, but they're very busy. Well, Lou Alvarez chose to spend his last few weeks on earth fighting, not for himself, but for the other families and victims. His time, Lou's time, was the most valuable time. And that's why it's great to be able to have Phil and Ida down here to be able to represent him. But, you know, the perspective and the priorities are upside down here. And hopefully this is a chance to get them right side up again.
John Feal, is there anything else you want people to know about your friend Lou Alvarez? Well, Jon Stewart, maybe you can convey this. What do you guys want people to remember about Lou Alvarez?
What I want everybody to remember about Lou Alvarez and Ray Pfeiffer and John McNamara and Barry Galfano and the hundreds and the thousands that we've lost, I want them to know that they were the best of the best of what this country offered 18 years ago. They were selfless patriots. And I hope, I pray that I become half the man that they were, because to be able to give yourself in your final days, your final hours, and your final minutes, that says a lot about these men and women, uniform and non-uniform. They gave it themselves to the very end. Just like on 9/11 and the days and weeks that followed, they gave it themselves. And we continue to give of ourselves now. And we have just advocated for tens of thousands of people that are going to receive help. That's historic. Not many people around this country can say they went to Washington, D.C. and made the process work. We forced, we shamed the process to work. So Lou Alvarez is passing, is not in vain. I'm not crying. And I know Lou's smiling right now. And when Lou gave me his shield to give to Mitch McConnell, and I shook Mitch McConnell's hand, and I'm going to keep Mitch McConnell's word that he said he was going to get this done before their summer recess. Well, I can tell you now that when we leave here today and we get off air, that we're going to make sure that Mitch McConnell sticks to his word, and over the next week or two, we're going to keep the pressure on the Senate. But let's talk about the 72 co-sponsors we got in the Senate, because we're now done with the House. That means Senator Gillibrand would technically make 73 co-sponsors. That means there's 27 members of the Senate that aren't on board. So I am giving you the next week to get on board, or we're going to make your life miserable.
John Feal, Jon Stewart, I know you say you're not celebrating, but hope you'll take our congratulations on this victory. Thank you so much for joining us. John Feal, thank you to you and the heroes of 9/11, your colleagues, for your service.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we'll be right back.